Hi, it's Carrie West, Function Nutrition and Lifestyle Counselor. I'm not in my usual spot today, I'm traveling. However, I wanted to hop on to share an interesting topic that I happened to stumble upon known as MMPs or matrix malatoproteinases, which are essentially enzymes involved in the breakdown of components of the extracellular matrix, which is the glue and scaffolding of the cells of our body. It is a basis for most chronic disease states as well as driving disease progression. I haven't seen it talked a lot about in the general health sphere. I guess it's more talked about in the scientific community due to its extreme biological complexity and the fact that clinical trials have largely failed in the last 60 years. However, today I wanted to share some key components and dietary interventions that might be helpful in slowing the progression if you are dealing with a chronic condition. MMPs or matrix malatoproteinases are not all good or all bad. They are involved in wound healing and development. However, their overactivity and imbalance with inhibitors is what makes them problematic and also difficult, apparently, in finding interventions for. MMPs and mitochondria have a complex and bidirectional relationship. In pathological states, MMPs can impair mitochondrial health. Remember, mitochondria are the little energy factories of our cells and also a basis in chronic disease states when they become impaired. Likewise, mitochondria can control the activity and expression of MMPs. MMPs are involved in numerous chronic conditions, again, driving tissue breakdown, inflammation, and remodeling in cancer, cardiovascular diseases, autoimmune and inflammatory conditions, fibrotic conditions, skin aging, and more. And in fact, if you have hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos, like I do, it is the main engine of tissue destruction in this disorder, as well as a driving factor in mast cell activation. As with all chronic conditions, we can influence the terrain in which they exist, as well as to take measures to perhaps downregulate their genetic expression, halting or slowing the disease progression. So today I wanted to share some dietary interventions and herbals that you can try at home that might help if you are dealing and struggling with a chronic condition. Some key natural components include polyphenols and flavonoids such as quercetin, resveratrol, and curcumin. Essentially, MMPs require a zinc ion to function, and many polyphenols block the zinc inactivating the enzyme. Additionally, phenolic acid, as well as other plant-derived compounds such as sulforaphane, which is found in cruciferous veggies. Remember, cruciferous veggies also help with our detoxification. Examples of those are broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and radishes. Phenolic acids are abundant in plant-based foods such as fruits like berries, dark plums, and citrus, leafy greens, onions, artichokes, carrots, whole grains, nuts and seeds, as well as spices like oregano, thyme, and clove, as well as tea, coffees, and dark chocolate. Additionally, marine-derived compounds such as certain forms of brown algae, seaweed, and shellfish. Magnesium and vitamin D, as well as following a low glycemic diet, essentially lowering high blood sugar, can limit AGEs or advanced glycation end products which trigger MMPs. Herbal remedies include cinnamon, ginger, milk thistle, and ginkgo biloba. Many of the remedies mentioned here block signaling pathways which are a trigger for the body to make more MMPs, and likewise the antioxidants in these foods and herbals scavenge reactive oxygen species, which prevents oxidative damage, which can also trigger overactive MMPs. I know this was a complex topic, so I hope it was helpful to you and an impetus to include all the colors of the rainbow and many of these foods and herbs into your diet. Always check with your medical provider. Let me know if you have any questions in the feed, and thank you again for tuning in.